Welcome to our VirtuaLaw Legal Analysis series. In today's episode, we will discuss the meaning, application and sample case of Doctrine of Adherence of Jurisdiction. Let's dive right into it. The Doctrine of Adherence of Jurisdiction, also known as the Doctrine of Continuing Jurisdiction, is a principle in Philippine procedural law that states that once a court has acquired jurisdiction over a case, it retains that jurisdiction until the case is finally disposed of. This means that the court cannot be divested of its jurisdiction over the case by subsequent events or changes in the law. Application. The doctrine of adherence of jurisdiction is based on the principle of judicial economy. This principle holds that it is more efficient for a court to resolve a case from beginning to end than for it to have to start over again in another court. The doctrine of adherence of jurisdiction also promotes judicial certainty. This principle holds that parties should be able to rely on the fact that the court that has jurisdiction over their case will continue to have jurisdiction until the case is finally disposed of. The doctrine of adherence of jurisdiction is applied in a variety of cases. For example, if a court has already issued a summons and complaint in a case, it will retain jurisdiction over the case even if the defendant moves to dismiss the case or if the parties enter into a settlement agreement. Sample case. One sample case of the application of the doctrine of adherence of jurisdiction is the case of Allendale v. Hosen, 264-211, 2001. In this case, the plaintiff filed a complaint for damages against the defendant in the Regional Trial Court, RTC, of Iriga City. The defendant moved to dismiss the case, arguing that the RTC did not have jurisdiction over the case because the cause of action arose in Naga City. The RTC denied the motion to dismiss and the defendant appealed the decision to the Court of Appeals, CA. The CA reversed the decision of the RTC and dismissed the case. The plaintiff then filed a petition for review with the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled that the CA erred in dismissing the case. The Supreme Court held that the RTC had acquired jurisdiction over the case when it issued the summons and complaint. The Supreme Court also held that the defendant's motion to dismiss was untimely, as it was filed after the RTC had already acquired jurisdiction over the case. The doctrine of adherence of jurisdiction is an important principle in Philippine procedural law. This doctrine promotes judicial economy and judicial certainty. The doctrine of adherence of jurisdiction also helps to ensure that parties are able to have their cases resolved in a timely and efficient manner. That's all for this episode. Stay tuned for more legal insights in our future episode. Remember, understanding the law helps us comprehend the intricacies of our legal system. See you next time. Like and subscribe.